Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everyone from Manila. I think there's an echo I hear. I hope it's okay. And thank you for IUCN, Traffic, WWF, DNP, GFUNDP for inviting us to present during this forum. And what I will present now is our tool called Social and Behavior Change Communication that we have used in planning and implementing our demand reduction campaigns under USAID Wildlife Asia. So I will focus on the process and also the results. So just as a recap, I think a lot of you already are familiar with USAID Wildlife Asia. It is a 5-year project and we are nearing completion. We are just wrapping up and we aim to address wildlife trafficking as a transnational crime in Southeast Asia, especially Cambodia, Laos, PDR, Thailand, and Vietnam, as well as China. And our target species are elephant ivory, rhino horn, tiger, and pangolin. Our project started in August 2016, and I said we're wrapping up, and we are now implementing, we have recently launched a bridging project called Reducing Demand for Wildlife that will end in February 2023. So later on, maybe I can tell you more about it. But just to recap, USAID Wildlife Asia's objectives are to reduce consumer demand through social and behavior change communication, focusing on China, Thailand, and Vietnam, and then increase commitment to address transnational crime through legislation and environmental jurisprudence, support regional cooperation and coordination of USAID agencies, and strengthen regional law enforcement capacity and coordination. So I will focus on objective 1, which is reducing demand through social and behavior change communication. So first, why did we choose to apply SBCC to reduce consumer demand? So we did a situation analysis in 2017 when we started on demand reduction activities. And this was a literature review of various demand reduction campaigns done to reduce consumer demand by various agencies in Southeast Asia and China. So these were the conclusions that were drawn. Campaigns generally at the time targeted general populations and were successful in raising awareness, but did not significantly reduce consumer demand among actual or potential consumers. And also that conservation messages generally do not resonate with actual consumers. So we need to target consumers and what motivates or drives them to desire wildlife products. So as I said, focus, SBCC, now I will talk about social and behavior change communication as the demand reduction tool that we use. So what is SBCC? Here you will see on the left, it is a planned process to assess, design, implement, monitor, and evaluate communication programs to promote change, meaning individual behaviors and social norms. That's why we say social and behavior change. And then it uses in the middle a socio-ecological model to analyze what are the influencing factors, drivers, and barriers of behaviors with the self. The self is the center, that's the consumer. And then we use 3 main strategies: advocacy, social mobilization, and behavior change communication. So here I just talked about the 5-step planning process. So I will now talk about how we used it in our campaigns in Thailand, just focusing on Thailand as a process. First, understanding the problem and selecting and defining the target audiences. So 2018, right after the situation analysis, we conducted a consumer research in Thailand, also in China, and to determine what are the knowledge, attitudes, behaviors, perceptions among those who consume wildlife products and those who desire to consume wildlife products. And we found that ivory and tiger were the two most popular wildlife products consumed in Thailand. And there were two main drivers. Spiritual beliefs was a key driver to buy and use both ivory and tiger because people believe in their power to bring good luck and prevent harm. And for ivory, specifically, a significant driver was perceived beauty, meaning this is focused on ivory jewelry and accessories. And I think this is actually confirmed by Kun Matine's presentation earlier, when she said that a lot of the ivory products available are products for beauty, like accessories and jewelry. So based on the findings, we decided to target these two main consumption drivers. And our objectives for the campaign was to reduce demand for ivory and tiger products by improving desired attitudes, decreasing the perception of social acceptability of ivory and tiger products, and reducing attention to buy these products. So these are the two campaigns, major campaigns. First is spiritual beliefs campaign with two phases to reduce demand for ivory and tiger products based on beliefs in their power to bring good luck and prevent harm. And the Beautiful Dark Ivory campaign to reduce demand for ivory, jewelry, and accessories driven by perceived beauty. We also had the third campaign called Digital Deterrence, which I will not talk about here as well, but I will say that the Digital Deterrence campaign aimed to prevent potential online purchasers of ivory and tiger through the search words that they use. And I'd like to note again that a lot of the data that we gathered from this campaign corroborate the finding of Kun Matini traffic this morning about people searching for mostly ivory products. We found 90% were ivory products. A lot of them were also beauty. So now I will focus on the spiritual beliefs campaign. So as I said, understanding the target audience. So we actually prepared a target audience profile. So this is what you see. Really, what is this persona of the user of ivory and tiger driven by spiritual beliefs? So you will see it here in this slide. So we tried to really personify what this user is. So then, second is we designed the SBCC strategy and interventions. So we actually said that we would implement a behavior change communication strategy to directly target or address current and likely consumers of ivory and tiger products driven by spiritual beliefs, and add on a social mobilization component, because we found, based on our consumer research, that spiritual or religious leaders like Buddhist monks and nuns were very influential in actually these beliefs. So we would mobilize these leaders to promote messaging to counter the beliefs among ivory and tiger consumers. So third step in the SBCC planning process is to create, test, produce messages and material, and prepare a dissemination plan. So first, for this campaign, we tested two message concepts. The first concept you will see on the left is a concept that is bold, hard-hitting, linked to killing, sort of dark. So saying, don't take another life for another life. The second concept on the right is more positive, affirming, encouraging, more a benefits approach. And it says that your luck and success comes from your own capacity, not from an amulet or an ivory or tiger product. So based on the concept test, we found that the concept test was really among consumers and likely consumers. We found that the darker messaging was more appealing and believable to them. And then the respondents suggested using strong images and visuals and words like protection. And they also said that we should never say that their beliefs are wrong, but rather raise questions to cast doubt on these beliefs. So the first phase was called A Good Life History of Killing. And this was implemented, of course, with DNP and with Wild Aid. And the key message here, the idea here was to really reduce demand for ivory and tiger products that for among people who think that they bring good luck. So we had messaging and materials delivered by a respected Buddhist monk and two prominent celebrities known for their charity work. This was in late 2019 and early 2020. The key message was, products that come from killing, are you sure they are auspicious? And our call to action was stop buying, stop using products from ivory and tiger. And then phase 2 actually aimed to cast doubt on the power of ivory and tiger to protect from harm. And this was delivered by a respected and popular Buddhist monk who we think will be the wrong January. This is Venerable Sompong. And then the question here, the key message here is, do you think ivory and tiger flags can really protect you? When they can, meaning these animals can even protect their own lives. So the same call to action, stop buying, stop using products from ivory and tiger. And phase 1, for example, was launched by DNP on October 2019, and phase 2 was also hosted, the launch was hosted by DNP during World Wildlife Day in March 2020. So the next, so we had the dissemination plan, and this I will just focus on ivory tiger amulets, which really focused on using social media with support from out of home. Because we found that based on the consumer research, our consumers access social media, Facebook, Instagram, very often. So the fourth step, implement and monitor. So we implemented, as I said, a social media campaign, basically, with support from out-of-home materials. And we monitor the implementation of social media placements through digital analytics. So during the course of implementation, we wanted to determine whether our social media placements were reaching the correct target audience and whether the target audience that we reached were being engaged in the campaign, meaning were they viewing the campaign, were they liking it, were they sharing it, etc. And then the activity was our media agency would give us a report every 2 to 3 weeks. So this is just an example of the data that we found or that was revealed by our digital analytics. For example, we found that initially our Facebook age distribution, those reach, were skewed more towards those 18 to 24 and 25 to 34 age group, when we also wanted to reach the older group. So we made changes, so which resulted in a higher age group being reached. So that was just an example. And then we also did what we call a mini tracking survey. This is to obtain feedback. This is not an impact evaluation. This is just a monitoring tool. To obtain feedback on whether those being exposed to our campaign are having or are producing desired changes meaning are they changing desired attitudes, changing their social norm perceptions, or changing intention to purchase. So we conducted a short online survey with 5 closed-ended questions sent to those exposed and not exposed to the campaigns through Facebook lead generation. So they were able to actually get back 428 responses to the questionnaires. So just as a quick overview of the results, remember this is just monitoring, it's not just evaluation. This is just to know whether are we engaging the target audience, are we changing attitudes? So we can see that based on this, we see those exposed have lower intention to buy compared to not exposed. They also find Ivory and Tiger products not socially acceptable compared to those not exposed. So, and then they believe they have good desired attitudes. They think that Ivory and Tiger, much fewer believe Ivory and Tiger protect from harm and bring good luck. And then this is just for the accessories, beautiful without everything. So we found that we were sort of on our way to producing the desired impact based on this initial online survey. So we also implemented a social mobilization strategy wherein we engaged a big network called the International Network of Engaged Buddhists. This is a global network of Buddhist organizations with a big association here in Thailand to amplify the campaign messages in their interactions with followers through their dharmas, teachings, social media. They also have Facebook pages and through face-to-face interactions. So from October 2020 to July 2021, we conducted through INEB 3 workshops, which reached around 80 monks from 50 temples across Thailand. So now we're trying to determine what they're actually doing to amplify the messaging from the spiritual beliefs campaign. So these are actually photos of the workshops. And you will see on the top right, this monk actually created his own video and posted it in his Facebook page. So the 5th is evaluate and replan. So we conducted, so this is again different from the mini tracking survey. That was to monitor how we were doing in terms of our social media placements. Now this monitoring survey aimed to determine recall of the Thailand campaigns and changes in attitudes, perceptions of social acceptability, and intention to use based among those exposed to the campaigns and compare it with our 2018 Thailand baseline survey. And we conducted this in July. That was when all the social media placements ended. They all ended in June. So the methodology was an online questionnaire. We sampled 451 respondents. And as I said, we compared the results with similar results from our 2018 survey, baseline survey. So we found that recall of messages was quite high. 88% recalled seeing or hearing at least one of the campaigns, but this also includes Beautiful Without Ivory and Digital Deterrence. And 75% recall at least one celebrity talk about the messages, with the majority of this 75% recalling celebrities from the spiritual beliefs campaign from phase 1 and phase 2. Now I will just show results for Ivory and Tiger, for the spiritual beliefs campaign. And this is what we call desired attitudes. So the red line is really the data from our baseline 2018 survey. And the blue line are data from the 2020 survey among those exposed to the campaign. And you will see a drop among those who say that Ivory provides protection from harm, who agreed with it, from nearly 80% to 48%. And then tiger products provide protection from harm from 62% to 52%. So these are significant changes. I mean, statistically significant. And then again, another perceived attitude is the perception that ivory tiger bring good luck, good fortune. From the baseline for ivory, 86% believe it is so, went down to 54% among those exposed to our campaign in 2020. And for tiger, bringing good luck, 62% in 2018, believe that, went down to nearly 49% in 2020 among those exposed. Social acceptability. Now this is going up, meaning buying ivory products is not acceptable among family and friends. So this is social acceptability, which is actually our indicator. So those who say that buying ivory products is not acceptable among family and friends increased from 3% in the baseline to nearly 38% in 2020 among those. And for tiger, 20% to nearly 47% among those in 2020. Intention to purchase. Also, you will see the red line, intention to purchase. This is the red cell, dropped significantly. On the left, the baseline was 79%. On the right is 37%. This is intention to purchase. So our insights, just for the demand reduction, we have a lot of insights actually, but I will just focus on the insights on using the tool. Using a systematic approach like social and behavior change communication that is based on research evidence at every step. You will see that in every step, we sort of use evidence from research and focused on specific target audiences is effective in changing attitudes, behaviors, and social norms. Second, monitoring implementation of campaigns, which I find a lot of campaigns are not doing as much, meaning a lot of campaigns are focused on developing messages, concept testing, pre-testing, and then monitoring and implementation is sort of left to the agency. But we also have to be active in monitoring implementation. It is important in order to determine whether we are reaching the correct target audiences and they are reacting as we would like to our messages. And we can determine active management actions. And then evaluation of campaign impact is absolutely important to determine and measure whether we have achieved desired changes in attitudes, behaviors, and social norms. So this is it. And I would like to say that these steps can be found, are illustrated in our social and behavior change communication or SBC demand reduction guidebook. And I think most of you in Rama Gardens have actually gotten hold of this because there is a table outside the conference room, USAID Wildlife Asia and Reducing Demand for Wildlife, where we have all our legacy products or our printed materials. And I was told that most of you have already gotten this SVCC guidebook as well as our other materials. Thank you and hope you'll be able to use them. And so thank you. You can write to me. I don't have my email address, but I think it's Eleanora.De Guzman at USAIDWildlifeAsia.org if you want to contact me for further questions. Thank you so much.